The Gnostic tradition offers us a radical inversion of apocalyptic thought. The end of the world, not as catastrophe, but as liberation. Emerging in the 2nd to 4th century CE and rediscovered in the Nag Hammadi texts of 1945, these diverse spiritual movements shared a compelling premise that our material reality is not a divine creation to be celebrated, but a cosmic prison from which the enlightened must escape. In the Gnostic worldview, a perfect divine realm, the Pleroma, stands in opposition to our corrupt material world, created not by the true God, but by the flawed Demiurge. Within humans resides a divine spark, a fragment of true spiritual reality, kept imprisoned by archons, cosmic wardens who maintain our ignorance. Salvation comes through gnosis, direct knowledge of one's divine nature and origin. This vision resonates curiously with our modern sensibilities, where simulation theory and digital realities have popularized the notion of worlds behind worlds. It challenges us to reconsider the apocalypse not as an ending but as an unveiling. The Greek apocalypsis literally means uncovering. Today's exploration will journey through the ancient text of the Apocalypse of Adam, before drawing parallels with other Gnostic texts like the Apocryphon of John. What emerges is a cross-cultural vision of cosmic dissolution that challenges our fundamental assumptions about reality, divinity, and the human condition, suggesting that knowledge of the end of the world might be a significant step towards divine gnosis. Before we get started, if you like this type of content, then please remember to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss a future video. Also, make sure to check out another channel I'm involved with called Folks of Yore. I do the narration on the channel and we cover history from a more human perspective. Right now we're covering the Renaissance, so make sure you go check it out. A link is in the description. Let's dive in. Among the treasures discovered at Nag Hammadi, the Apocalypse of Adam stands as a remarkable testament to Gnostic thought, a cosmic history transmitted from father to son, from Adam to Seth, containing within it the seeds of a radical eschatology. This text weaves together elements of Jewish apocalyptic tradition with distinctly Gnostic cosmological insights, creating a narrative that reinterprets humanity's past while prophesying its ultimate liberation. The document opens with a striking reversal of Genesis. Adam speaks of his original state not as one of innocence in a garden, but of glory in a higher realm. When God had created me out of the earth, along with Eve your mother, I went about with her in a glory which she had seen in the eon from which we had come forth. In this account, Adam and Eve did not begin as earthly beings who fell from grace, but as spiritual entities who descended from a higher eon, a divine realm of light. This original state was characterized by wisdom and illumination. She taught me a word of knowledge of the eternal God. Adam and Eve possessed divine understanding that elevated them above their creator. We were higher than the God who had created us, and the powers with him, whom we did not know. Here we encounter a core Gnostic insight, that the creator God of this world is not the ultimate divine reality, but a lesser entity whom the truly illuminated transcend. The fall in this retelling was not the result of moral transgression, but of cosmic jealousy. Then God, the ruler of the eons and the powers, divided us in wrath. The jealous creator stripped Adam and Eve of their spiritual knowledge. The glory in our hearts left us, me and your mother Eve, along with the first knowledge that breathed within us. This loss of divine wisdom reduced them to the level of mortal existence. Since that time, we learned about dead things like men. What follows is a complex narrative involving mysterious visitors who bring revelation, a retelling of the flood story, and prophetic visions of humanity's ultimate fate. Throughout, the text presents not a linear history, but a spiral of repeating patterns, of fall and revelation, of imprisonment and liberation, of darkness and light. At its core lies the promise that knowledge will return, awakening those who carry the divine spark. The Apocalypse of Adam reimagines the flood as a cosmic drama beyond mere divine punishment. Unlike Genesis, this Gnostic text portrays the deluge as a battleground between gnosis and ignorance. The Creator God unleashes rain to destroy all flesh, specifically targeting those carrying the life of knowledge inherited from Adam and Eve. This portrays the biblical God as a demiurge threatened by human enlightenment, seeking to eradicate those with dangerous wisdom. The text creates a fascinating syncretism by identifying Noah with the Greek Deucalion, weaving together diverse flood traditions. The survivors receive a profound cosmic mandate to rule the earth in kingly fashion, with the promise that their lineage will stand in another glory, referring to Noah and his sons. Yet preservation emerges through cosmic balance. Divine power flows through the waters to Noah, his family, and the animals in the ark. Some were sent from the knowledge of great eternal realms and angels, defying the demiurge and living in the true knowledge of God. The post-diluvian world described in the Apocalypse of Adam unfolds not as a simple historical progression, but as a complex spiritual geography reflecting cosmic realities. The text speaks of 400,000 men from the seed of Ham and Japheth, who enter into another land and sojourn with those men who came forth from the great eternal knowledge. This mysterious migration represents the preservation and transmission of gnosis through bloodlines and spiritual communities. These enlightened ones find protection through their wisdom, for the shadow of their power will protect those who have sojourned with them from every evil thing and every unclean desire. In the Gnostic worldview, true knowledge creates a protective field against the corrupting influences of material existence. This period of relative spiritual flourishing leads inevitably to conflict with the archonic powers that rule the material world. The text describes how representatives of these powers will go to Sakla, their god. Sakla, a name meaning fool in Aramaic, is a common Gnostic designation for the demiurge. The complaint these powers bring to Sakla reveals the cosmic struggle at the heart of the narrative. What is the power of these men who stood in your presence, who were taken from the seed of Ham and Japheth, who will number 400,000 men? They have been received into another eon from which they had come forth, and they have overturned all the glory of your power and the dominion of your hand. This passage illuminates the central Gnostic principle that awakened humans who recognize their true origin overturn the dominion of the material cosmos and its rulers. The very existence of the enlightened represents an existential threat to the archonic powers, challenging the completeness of their control over reality itself. The culmination of this cosmic drama arrives with the third appearance of a mysterious figure called the Illuminator of Knowledge. The text proclaims, once again for the third time, the Illuminator of Knowledge will pass by in great glory, in order to leave something of the seed of Noah and the sons of Ham and Japheth, to leave for himself fruit-bearing trees. This messianic figure, neither explicitly Jesus nor any known prophet, but perhaps incorporating elements of both, represents the perennial emergence of liberating wisdom throughout cosmic history. The purpose of this final revelation is nothing less than the ultimate liberation, and he will redeem their souls from the day of death. For the whole creation that came from the dead earth will be under the authority of death. Here we encounter the Gnostic premise that all material existence, the whole creation, remains subject to death and dissolution. while those who possess higher knowledge transcend this fate. This final apocalypse ignites cosmic conflict of the highest order. Then the god of the powers will be disturbed, saying, "What is the power of this man who is higher than we?" Then he will arouse a great wrath against that man. The material cosmos and its rulers resist their dissolution, fighting against the awakening that threatens their dominion. The text describes the cataclysmic judgment in vivid terms. Then fire and sulfur and asphalt will be cast upon those men, and fire and blinding mist will come over those eons. And the eyes of the powers of the illuminators will be darkened, and the eons will not see them in those days. This apocalyptic imagery suggests not merely physical destruction, but the dissolution of entire cosmic hierarchies. In this moment of apparent catastrophe comes the ultimate revelation, divine rescue that transcends the cataclysm. And great clouds of light will descend, and other clouds of light will come down upon them from the great eons. These luminous manifestations bring divine messengers, Abraxas, Sablo, and Gamaliel, who save the men from the fire and wrath, and take them above the eons and the rulers of the powers. These three entities represent divine powers that transcend the material cosmos and its rulers. Their purpose is to elevate the enlightened beyond the dissolving material realm. The men will be like those angels, for they are not strangers to them, but they work in the imperishable seed. Here we encounter a profound Gnostic insight, that awakened humans recognize their kinship with divine beings, discovering that they were never truly strangers to the higher realms, but always carried that reality within them as imperishable seed. The eschatology presented here differs profoundly from mainstream apocalyptic traditions. The end is not characterized primarily by judgment and punishment, but by revelation and liberation. Cosmic powers will be overthrown, heavenly messengers will descend, and those who possess gnosis will transcend the material plane. The text concludes with a cryptic reference to spiritual baptism, not a physical ritual, but an immersion in liberating knowledge. This is the holy baptism of those who know the eternal knowledge through those born of the Word and the imperishable illuminators. The final words invoke a triad of sacred names, Yesius, Mazarius, Yesedekius, the living water. These are not merely abstract mystical terms, but as scholar Marvin Meyer has demonstrated, carefully constructed references to Jesus within a Gnostic framework. Meyer traces their etymologies. Yesius derives from Jesus, Mazarius from Nazarene, Yesedekius from the righteous. This triad represents a veiled reference to Jesus as the Nazarene, the righteous one, transformed into mystical formula and connected to the living water of spiritual baptism. What emerges from this complex narrative is a vision of apocalypse as revelation rather than destruction, as awakening rather than judgment. The material world is not renewed, but transcended. Divine light, long trapped in human vessels, returns to its source. The prison of physical existence dissolves, and those with eyes to see and ears to hear recognize their true nature as beings of light, temporarily clothed in darkness. While the Apocalypse of Adam provides perhaps the most cohesive Gnostic vision of cosmic endings, it exists within a rich tapestry of similar texts. Each offers unique perspectives on the dissolution of material reality and the liberation of divine light. Together, they reveal not a uniform doctrine, but a constellation of related insights, variations on the theme of spiritual awakening as cosmic culmination. The Apocryphon of John stands as one of the foundational texts of Gnostic thought, presented as secret teachings revealed by Jesus to his disciple John after the resurrection. It exists in multiple versions, suggesting its importance within Gnostic communities. Unlike more narrative-focused apocalyptic texts, the Apocryphon offers a comprehensive cosmological framework that implicitly contains its own vision of endings. It describes in elaborate detail the structure of the divine Pleroma with its eons and emanations, the tragic fall of Sophia that led to the creation of the Demiurge, and the subsequent imprisonment of divine light in material forms. Those who receive gnosis begin a journey of ascent even before physical death, their consciousness gradually withdrawing from material identification and recognizing its true nature. At the final dissolution, the awakened souls navigate past the archons who guard the cosmic boundaries, using secret names and formulas to bypass the sentinels of ignorance. What distinguishes the Apocryphon's vision is its focus on individual illumination rather than collective judgment. The material world doesn't need to be transformed or renewed. It must be transcended entirely. While the Apocalypse of Adam preserves elements of the flood narrative while reinterpreting them, the Apocryphon of John largely abandons this historical material framework. Instead, it envisions salvation as an intimate process of inner illumination, where the divine spark within recognizes its true nature and is gathered back into the Pleroma. The paraphrase of Shem presents one of the most unusual Gnostic cosmologies, structured around three primordial principles: light, representing good; darkness, evil; and spirit, the mediating principle. Its apocalyptic vision centers on the opposition of cosmic elements, particularly fire and water. If creation began through the interaction of primordial waters with cosmic winds, its dissolution comes through purifying fire. The text prophesies that after a catastrophic flood, the final judgment will come through flames that consume the material cosmos. The paraphrase describes how these endowed with spiritual nature will ascend to the light, while those belonging solely to darkness face complete destruction. The physical universe dissolves back into its primordial elements as the temporary structures of material existence collapse. What makes this text particularly compelling is its portrayal of humans as battlegrounds between cosmic forces. Within each person, elements of light, darkness, and spirit contend for dominance. The apocalypse represents not just an external cosmic event, but an interior resolution of this primordial tension. The trimorphic protonoia introduces us to a divine power, protonoia, or first thought, which is referred to as Barbello. The narrative reveals Barbello or protonoia speaking directly through three descents. Protonoia first descends as voice or sound, establishing the basic patterns of cosmic reality. The second manifestation comes as speech, articulated word, challenging the authority of archonic powers. The third and final appearance is as word or logos, bringing the completion of the salvation cycle. The eschatological vision centers on protonoia's triumphant declaration: "I delivered him from the chains of the demons of the underworld." The final liberation involves the stripping away of material elements as souls ascend, removing the layers of physical, psychic, and archonic imposition to reveal the pure divine essence beneath. This text uniquely emphasizes the dissolution of boundaries between divine masculine and feminine, between savior and saved. The apocalypse manifests not as destruction, but as recognition. As protonoia proclaims, "I am perception and knowledge, uttering a voice by means of thought. I am the real voice." Perhaps the most cosmologically detailed of Gnostic texts, On the Origin of the World, provides an elaborate alternative to Genesis, describing the creation of multiple heavens, the role of Sophia in forming the material world, and how the shadow of immortality gave rise to archons and matter. Its apocalyptic vision begins with cosmic war, referring to when the archons wage war against each other, This internal conflict within the material powers creates the conditions for final dissolution. The text describes how the great sky will dissolve as cosmic structures collapse upon themselves. The sun and moon darken, stars fall from their positions, and the archons themselves tumble into the abyss they created. What distinguishes this account is its emphasis on comprehensive cosmic dissolution. All natures, starting from the revealed of chaos to the unmanifest of the unbegotten, will dissolve. Nothing of material structure remains, yet this represents not tragedy, but fulfillment. As divine light returns to its source and the temporary constructs of materiality fade like a passing dream. For those who have attained gnosis, this dissolution brings not fear, but recognition. The confirmation of what they have always known about the impermanent nature of physical reality. The spiritually awakened do not perish with the cosmos, but transcend it, their consciousness already partially dwelling in the realms beyond materiality. The Gnostic apocalypse stands as a philosophical counterpoint to more familiar apocalyptic traditions, offering not destruction, but dissolution, not judgment, but recognition, not renewal, but return. In an age increasingly characterized by virtual realities and digital constructs, these ancient insights resonate with surprising relevance. When philosophers and scientists alike speculate about simulation theory, when our identities become increasingly fluid and disembodied in digital spaces, the Gnostic intuition that the material reality might be a kind of cosmic virtual reality seems less alien. Perhaps what makes these visions so compelling is their ultimate optimism. Despite their portrayal of material existence as imprisonment, they offer a path of liberation through knowledge. They suggest that within each human dwells an extraordinary capacity for transcendence, a divine spark awaiting recognition. The apocalypse becomes not something to fear, but something to welcome, the dissolving of the walls that separate us from our truest nature. To recognize that within our seemingly solid existence dwells the boundless light of knowing, awaiting only our recognition to illuminate the journey home. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate you all so much, really. Please remember to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss a future video. Check out my website, oculus.com, and check out the other channel I'm involved in called Folks of Yore. The link is in the description. Until next time.